Hey, good morning. Today I'm going to talk about some things that happened when we lived in Garfield when we moved back there. I'll talk about our house at 15 Monroe Street on another video, but this one I have a note here to remind myself to talk about, wait for it, their mom's ironing board. And one of the things when I think back to the apartment on 15 Monroe Street in Garfield. By the way, the building is now torn down. I went on Google Earth to try and get a picture of it, and it's looks like a little empty lot there, and it's all cleaned up, but there's no apartment building there anymore. And also, okay, so if you look for it, you're not gonna find it. I have one picture of my mom getting ready to take my brothers to. I guess we were going to church. They were all dressed up and standing in front of Monroe Street. Really nondescript, nothing to look at, but memories galore. Just like your house, you have houses in the past that you remember. Make a video about it. Anyway, okay, I'm goofy. It's a beautiful day out today here, just lovely. And so we're gonna talk about mom's ironing board. It's gonna be a short one. So we had a lot of stress in our life in the apartment building. Okay, so let's see. I'm probably 9 at this point, and going to Lincoln number 6 school because there was like 9 grammar schools in Garfield. So I was number 6, and I have a bunk bed. I'm sleeping on top. Jimmy and Scott are sleeping in the bottom. And at some point, Billy was born and he slept in the carriage. There's little tight quarters in that apartment. Yeah, but we made it work. We did. We had fun. My mom used to set the ironing board up in the living room because out where the living room was the back end of the house that looked into the backyard, and that's where the clothesline was. So this really kind of funny. The TV's kind of over caddy angled in the corner, and my mom's got her like clothesline bag, with the bobby pins, no clothespins in there. Bobby pins, that'd be a joke. Well, the girls' clothes they wear these days, probably bobby pins would hang them on the line. A little joke there. Anyway, so my mom would open the window, and she's tiny body. Remember we talked about tiny dot, and they'd reach her tiny little arms to pull the clothes in, and then when she was putting the clothes out, she would have to hold one of the clothespins in her mouth and damn, grab me the thing. My mom. And she, put them out. So when we were pulling the clothes in, say if it was raining or something, she'd just flop them in the basket. And she had the ironing board right there between the big window and then the other window. And she'd turn that thing on. And what she would do with some of her work clothes is she would spray it with some kind of weird starch because the clothes were almost all cotton. Back in the day, I hate to keep saying back in the day, but they didn't have polyesters and maybe they had them, but they were like, real fancy clothes. But everybody else's clothes were mostly all cotton. And cotton is not a forgiving fabric when it comes to being squunched up, put in a washer machine, thrown out online. You pull it back in, and those wrinkles are there. Not like you throw something in the dryer just to shake a few wrinkles out, like I did with this one this morning. Anyway, so my mom would have them ready, the iron board ready. She'd bring them in, throw them in the thing, and she would actually iron my brother's play clothes. They're just tiny little khaki shorts and little striped shirts, what the little boys wear. And she would iron them. I was like, this is crazy. But I'll tell you later why she did that. She would just be so ridiculous. And that used to kind of drive me crazy. But now I look back on it and I say, oh, my mom. Because I'm meticulous now. I have certain things I do and everything's logistically in order and this and that. She'd be proud of me now. But I was a slob back then. My brain hadn't computed the value of, being neat. And so she'd be like, and when she got stressed out, oh my goodness, she was mad about the boys or something. Usually it's about my dad. Something about my dad. Anyway, she'd be. Let's see if I can illustrate the sound. She's like that iron on the ironing board. Like she looked like a little, tiny little arms on that great big ironing board, and the iron. She would slam it on the table, slam it, slam it. She was mad. She was beating the heck out of that cotton. Let me tell you. And her clothes, she would take and, like I said, spray them and then roll them up. And the night before she went to work, she'd put them in the fridge so that like that fabric would soften with the softener that was in the water that she sprayed it with. And then she'd take it out. As soon as she took it out, she would iron it. and it looked nice. So she'd go to work every day with a freshly ironed shirt. She loved iron stuff. And like, let me tell you something, it did not pass on to this generation because if I iron something, it's because like I'm in a play and I'm doing a costume with the headdress or whatever it might be. But I don't like ironing. And let me tell you something, an iron back then could traumatize a kid. Is you hear you're in the other room and you're doing your homework or you're playing with your brothers or whatever you're doing, and you hear that iron slamming on the table, somebody's in trouble. And sometimes it was me. Not all the time. Most of the time it was my dad. And then she'd clunk it down and have to turn it off and drain the water out. I'm like, oh man, I hate irons. Anyway, I love my mom. I also want to say one other thing. It's a nice sunny day out, and I got her on my mind. I guess that's why I'm making a video about her. She loved azaleas. They don't grow real well out here in Oregon. They do grow, but they don't grow as well as they did in southern Jersey. They like soft, sandy, loamy soil. And so, anyway, she would have like a wish list. What do you want for Mother's Day, Mom? I want an azalea, an azalea, an azalea. A pink, a white, and a red azalea. I'm going to put them over here. Well, by the time us kids got older, all of us would be bringing her azaleas or geraniums. She liked geraniums too. Azaleas for like Mother's Day, birthdays, just for whatever, just to bring her over something. And her yard was loaded. I was so sad when she had to move from that house and she moved into North Carolina that all those azaleas were there. They were staying there, and there were years and years of birthday gifts. So I guess my way of balancing out the ironing board is by thinking about the azalea. And Mom, if I could bring you azalea in heaven, I would do it. All right, that's it, and that's all for my mom. This is the weirdest thing. You just appreciate things when they're not there. Ah, big yellow taxi. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? Pave paradise, put up a parking lot. Okay, there's a reason I don't have a musical career. I'd say that a lot. All right, guys, 7 minutes. Whoa, record shorty.